go. Freestyle right now.
Freestyle what? What am I freestyling?
Freestyle role for your first acting role. You're in a film. You're an actor, not just voice actor, physical actor. You're a detective. No, you're a detective.
Okay. Already got vibe.
You just moved up to detective. Just made rank for detective.
Mm-hmm.
You're in what city is he in? What city is he in?
I'm in LA. I'm in either Chicago or LA or Miami.
Okay, let's go Miami.
All right.
First day on the job, Miami detective. Some shit went down, and you're nervous.
So first thing I'm gonna think about is like film noir, right? Like I'm thinking Chinatown, Sin City.
You got a trench coat on.
Got a trench coat on. It's raining. I got a top hat, and I'm standing in the alleyway smoking a cigarette. and the flaps on my lapel of the jacket are up, and I'm kind of hunched over. Shorty thought she had the drop on me. Little did I know, as soon as I got moved up to detective, she was really trying to play me from the beginning. Messing with my mans, playing games behind my back. It's a cold world out there, you know what I mean? If you ever been in the same position as me, well, I don't really need to tell you this because you already know the story. But what I don't have to tell you is that it didn't end very well. So as I started maneuvering differently and started following in her footsteps, started to notice a pattern. Same day, same time, started driving to the same location. Put a little tail on her, maybe thought she doesn't see me. Lo and behold, I show up to the warehouse, 7 o'clock on the dot as the rain starts hitting the back of my car as I'm driving under an underpass. Started to see a couple of shadows in the distance as I entered the warehouse, following her thinking that she was alone. She was playing me the whole time. Straight setup, cold as ice. Took me for all my money, robbed me of my manhood all at the same time. I'm gonna find this shawty, and I ain't letting her get out. Or get away. I meant to say not letting her get away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's funny.
How long did we go?
2 hours.
Wait, what time is it? Oh, shit.
2 hours.
Fuck it, we ball.
Good Lord.
Play the Cut Podcast.
If you don't know, now you know. Yeah.
Bro, I'm going to add him in.
Hey, we were trying to air this promo during the Bachelor tomorrow night. We need you to do this right now. Brandon Bell, host, showrunner, difference maker.
Don't ask me what I'm up to nowadays. I'm potted. I always say, everything's better with music.
Amen.
I always say that.
Amen.
Even in the corporate kind of offices I've been in, the little AirPods in, I can get working. I can do whatever.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm going to start the podcast off with a little song every episode. Love music. So if you make music, please, I want to hear it.
Remind myself.
So what if I don't make it? No, I'm permanently painted.
Yes, that is Remind Myself by Nevi. Heard of him on TikTok, and that's just kind of how things go for me. Every now and then people just send me music for the last few years, and I appreciate it, but like, I'm no music
But those are the type of
executive.
people you gotta keep in your life that send you music.
That's
you know,
what
like
I'm
put
saying.
you on to new people. You know?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I never minded that. I got a few friends that never want to admit when someone puts them on to anything, but music especially. I never been like that, bro.
Yeah.
Tell me. I want to hear it. I don't care. I'm going to look it up right in front of you. You told me about Salt.
Yes.
Is
yes.
that who? Is it he, she, they?
It's a group.
It's a group,
I believe.
okay.
Yeah. Moonchild is also another fire group.
Okay.
Kind of like neo soul, like jazz vibes. It's a vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Cleo Soul. That's the last
Cleo,
one.
I've heard of Cleo Soul. I listen to Cleo Soul.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's my girl.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, we're going to start out every episode with a little bit of music. But we love the soul. We love bars. We love melodies. And that's the way we're going to kick this thing off. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you for tuning in to the Play the Cut podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Bell, and we have a very special guest with us today, the first guest of the Play the Cut podcast. I'm honored, blessed, and I know you are. Been following you for a little bit since I met you, and just inspired by everything. So we're definitely gonna tap in what you've been up to, what you're gonna be up to, what you're into, what you like, what you don't like, and just pick your brain a little bit, because that is what the Play the Cut podcast is about. I want it to be about, changing a perspective, keeping an open perspective, because that's how I am. Because that way life is a little better, a little bit more enjoyable. And that's kind of how I take on life, is what I want this show to be about. We're gonna be serious. We're gonna be silly, because that's how I am, my personality. And it's a lot easier when you have someone like Enrique Joseph here with us today. Like I said, I've been following you, and I have to ask you, what do you like to go by?
You can call me EJ.
You sure?
I mean, as long as you can say Enrique properly, then I'm okay if you can say EJ. I've gotten like Enrique, the security guard down at the gate, called me Enrique. I was like, dang, man. Like, I told you 8 times what it sounded like, but
I didn't think it would be that hard, but because I hate that. I run into people and they're like, oh, you can just call me. People say this, but my name's this. And I'm like, tell me what's your name, what you want.
Yeah, no. As long as you can say,
I get it.
I'm cool with. You can call me whatever, but if you can't say it, you gotta work on that first.
Right, right. What's your What's your like origin? Your family origin? Or
Panamanian.
Okay,
we're from Panama. Yeah. Dad immigrated here like 50 years ago with his 3 siblings, and grandma made the sacrifice to come over here, provide a better life for her children. And my mom's from Camden, so I get a little spice from 2 different countries. So I think it just made a nice little mix of a nice childhood.
Nice. I love that. I say that watching this guy, you hear his voice everywhere. Even if you didn't know, now you know. He's a voiceover actor for a plethora of, he's voiceover acted for a plethora of companies and productions and TV shows and movies, everything, you name it. And I love that, because I know you started in sports and you broaden his perspective out to do many things. So we were watching Thursday Night Football to kick off, Detroit versus KC. The kickoff, it was at NBC Sports, big production, big production. And I got a lovely lady, Michelle, so she might have to get with you with the Telemundo opener.
I gave them like the Spanish flair version, but they didn't want it. They didn't want it. No. They wanted it to sound as if I didn't know what I was saying. You know what I mean? But we tried to cross that bridge like 3 years ago. Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that, though.
Yeah,
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
We won't get into that, but I love it, though. You did a great job.
I apprient it.
She just said it. She's like, I got to get with him. But I was
sounds
like, I think he knows better.
Yeah, it sounds so dry. And my dad was like, yo, why they pick that one? But
that's how it works, man. That's how it works.
Yeah. Hey, look, they're paying me, and if that's what they're going with, then who am I to argue?
I love that. That's funny. But just to get back to the intro of this show, I want to introduce myself a little bit more. Like I said, my name is Brandon Bell, a.k.a. BBell, a.k.a. Wabiz, a.k.a. Uncle B, a.k.a. Jamar. That's what they call me. And I'm excited to be here. I've had this idea for so long. It's a shame, procrastination. We'll tap into that a little bit, but it's time. Now it's time. I ain't even worried about all of that. I'm here now, and we doing it. And one thing I want to tap onto is just getting help. I had this idea of wanting to do everything myself, but, finally it's like, I've done all that, or I've tried to do that and I haven't gotten anywhere. So try to put the team together, and that's what I did. Hit these lovely ladies and gentlemen up. Definitely getting their flowers throughout this, because we all trying to do it. And started making things happen. And like I said before, I got reached out to do a different podcast, and it gave me a kick in the butt to like do my own thing, because that's kind of who I am. BBell is always about doing his own thing. You talked about a great message, your father told you, and we'll talk about it again, but one of the main things my dad always told me is don't be a follower. Do your own thing, and that's kind of epitome of my life. Like, always just kind of moved to my own groove. And as I'm becoming an older adult, getting a lot older, it's about doing my own thing, man. Ignoring the noise, just going, do what makes you happy type vibe. And that's why we're here. We are here at Executive House Studios out of Philly. And I'm grateful. I'm thankful for this man right here. Pulled up, first guest, and ready to get this thing rolling, man.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here. Honored to be the first guest of the Play the Cut podcast.
So this man is a voice actor. I might need you for the intro to open this up.
That's fine.
I don't know if we can afford that.
We could talk.
Okay,
we could talk. We could talk about
Please, man, take it. Open us up.
Yeah, Enrique Joseph's really happy to be here. As you said, voice actor. Started working as a producer 2 years out of college for NFL Films, and kind of transitioned into voice acting from my position there. And it kind of happened in a flurry of chaos, and the story of how I got this one job, somebody had to get arrested, and Michelle didn't tell you about that.
No.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'll get into it.
Put two and two together.
I know that Wendell Pierce, big time actor. He's in Suits. He was in The Wire. He was in Bad Moms Christmas.
Okay.
He had gotten arrested down in Atlanta. It was crazy altercation with two women in a hotel room at 3:00 in the morning, and I ended up having a free VO session, unpaid VO session with one of our showrunners for the NFL's Top 100 show. And I'm going down to the studio, and I had seen the news like the day before that he got arrested. And I asked the showrunner, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, I don't know, but we're gonna have a meeting after you and I get together, and if the hotel footage from the hallway comes back to confirm the allegations, and we're probably gonna have to fire the guy from the show. And I was like, wow. And so we did our thing, and then afterwards we're talking, and he's like, look, this thing goes sideways, like, I might come knocking on your door in your cubicle. And I was like, all right. So I go back to my cubicle a couple of hours later. He comes in and tells me, hey, you need to go see this person, you need to see that person, and you're gonna need to record this and record that. And I'm just like, okay, sure, yes,
just going.
No, yeah, just going with it. And he left, and one of my colleagues was sitting next to me, and he like turned to me like real slow. He was like, did you just take over the show? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And I've been on the show ever since. It's just wrapped up my 7th season. So yeah, that's that's kind of how I caught my big break, so to speak, and that really kind of helped open the doors to a lot of other opportunities, and kind of just been building on top of that ever since.
Nice, man. We're definitely gonna get into those other opportunities, but that also, it wasn't by necessarily happenstance. I believe you came into films with a plan, stepping into the production world as a producer, as you said, but you always knew you had this gift. Or correct me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. Like, when I turned 12 years old, this joint got like this. So, I knew it was a very special gift from above. Nice. And I knew that like I needed to do something with it. When I was in college, I thought I was going to be a journalist, do journalism, become a news anchor or a newscaster. And then when I got to school, I really started to enjoy the behind the scenes stuff, because I started to realize that like all the action's really behind the scenes, directing, producing, writing, editing, like you're actually making it happen. So I kind of fell in love with the production aspect of broadcast, and did a lot of writing and editing and directing in college and producing different shows. I had 2 different radio shows, produced 4 different broadcast shows. I did a fashion show, a food show, around the town show. So I was active in college.
Doing it.
And I played college football. So I was trying to balance the student athlete life while still trying to get really involved. And, one of the things that kind of happened while I was in school was halfway through my college career, I stopped playing. I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my future. And on top of that, I hit puberty late, so I lost a lot of weight, which was really unexpected. I used to be like 320 pounds.
Okay.
And I went home. I barely made it out of my freshman year of college because my grades was, I did not take school seriously at all, man. I was enjoying myself.
Hey.
So I stayed back for a summer semester, got my act together, and then I went home. We had about 5 or 6 weeks before training camp started in August. And I did my, strength and conditioning like I normally did. I was, crazy strong. I was running. I was getting busy. But I didn't realize that my metabolism was going bananas. So I left that summer of school at like 320, and I checked into camp at 270. Woo. And my coaches were like, what happened?
That work
They thought I was on crack. They were like, yo, what happened to you? Like, we just saw you 5 weeks ago. Ended up playing my sophomore year, but at 2, I put on like 15 pounds during the season, so I was like 285, and I was playing offensive tackle, so going from 320 to 270 to 285, that's a big swing, you know. So finished the season, I go home for Christmas break, I dropped another 20, and I dropped 30 pounds, and I was just like, yo, like what is happening? So I remember sitting on my bed at home, and I was like, do I really want to, because I talked to my offensive line coach, and he's like, yeah, we want to try and get you back to like 315. I was
Good
like,
night.
I don't really know if I want to do all that, So I called some teammates, talked to my parents, and I decided to go in a different direction for the sake of my own health. And at the time, I remember how depressed I was. I lived with 5 other teammates.
Right.
So they're going to practice, they're traveling, going to games, they're going to meetings, they're hanging out together. And not that I wasn't hanging out with them, but like I just felt like I wasn't a part of the team. Right. But our star running back was real tight with the administration at school. And he was like, they told him, yeah, we've been looking for like a new announcer for sports games. And he was like, I know a guy. And he came to me one day and was like, yo, like, would you be interested in, being the public address announcer for the school? And I was like, yeah, why not? Ended up being amazing. Did all home sporting games except for football. And that was really my first introduction into like public speaking.
Right. Oh, wow, really?
Not necessarily. I did some public speaking as a kid, but more like as an adult. That was like my first.
Kid, your parents were putting your best foot forward with your voice.
Yeah, I had some opportunities. In middle school, I spoke in front of like 5,000 teachers at a teachers conference, and people thought I was going to get in the broadcast from an early age.
Right.
Like they really thought that was So, when I started announcing like basketball games, like I was loving it. I was going crazy, and I could feel that like the energy within the arena was connected to my energy.
It's a real thing,
and it was different. Because I realized I had the ability to affect people. So I graduated college, and right after I graduated, my school hosted this first time ever radio institute. Like came out of nowhere. Some random radio station owner, he owns a bunch of stations out in Pennsylvania, invested in this program, and they were like bringing in on-air talent, they were bringing in advertisers, and then they brought in some voiceover talent. So I said, okay. I signed up, went. It was like a few-day thing. The voiceover talent, meet the guy. Never heard of him before. Turns out he's been voicing a local Philly radio station since I was born, right? One of my favorite stations out here. And he brought his equipment, and he had everybody in the class read on the gear, sending everybody's demos to his team, and then the next day, we all got to hear our produced stuff. So he's playing ours.
That's
and then,
hard.
So mine comes up. It sounded legit. Like, it sounded like I was on air, like... And we went to lunch after that, and he was like, hey, look, man, I think you could be really good at this thing. Like, if it's something you might want to do. And I was like, all right, well, what do I need to do?
Right, tell me.
And he was like, you got to just do it. And I remember looking at him like, excuse me? Like, what? That made no sense to me. But then I realized that it made all the sense in the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
Like, if somebody's really, really hungry, like, you can give them this, and they'll take it here. You know what I mean? And he was kind of testing me in that way, right? So he wanted to see if I really was interested. And I went home that summer, first summer out of college, and I just started to fall in love with the whole voiceover thing. Started working small jobs, started practicing. I used to be up till like 3 a.m. practicing and stuff. I used to practice for NBC Sports, making up my own scripts for
Before
NBC Sports.
Before you even talk to them, just
This was 2015. Like I fresh out 2014, 2015, fresh out of college. I used to write up NFL film stuff before I even started working there. And kind of like the manifestation idea,
That's
right?
Exactly what it is.
Yeah. Just going crazy in my bedroom, writing, recording, producing, mixing. I didn't know what I was doing, but
building your craft though.
Yeah.
Building your craft.
And just going hard at it. Like I didn't care if I was good or bad. I listened to some of my old stuff. I was like, yo, I was garbage. Garbaggio is how I say it. But everybody got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I can attest to that now. And that's part of why I'm here with this show, man, is because I relate to that. But I'm just getting into it I can relate because playing football is part of my past, my history. That's definitely a piece of me. We'll get into that for sure. But I had all of the confidence and the attitude to just go, not even think. And then as I'm out of the game now, I'm trying to bring that same vigor to this. Because as you said, you just go, you just hungry, like you said. And I'm just getting into that now. And that's why, like I said, I was connected. I could just feel that we were right there in that frequency. And you've been through it. And that's the type of people that we're going to have here that's why I have a better appreciation for music artists and just creators and anything, artists, because creating something is different. Like going out there, running down on the field, it wasn't necessarily for me, I guess. It wasn't from me. It was what I did. It wasn't who I was. And I always knew I was more than that. Yeah. Into so many different things. And this is just the first step into that. And that's why, like I said, you were inspiring me from the outside. Now I'm hearing more of your story, even more so, because I've been hearing that for the past few years. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. Time goes by and excuses. I just call it excuses. Reasonings, excuses. But I'm just going now, so I appreciate that. And I wanted to touch on one thing you said. I guess going back to getting into voice acting, you told us to start. What was the first role that you kind of felt like, all right, I'm here now, I'm doing it?
The first big role? All right. I signed with my talent agency in 2017.
Okay.
It was July. September. Not even 6 weeks later, I booked a daytime talk show doing promos for Harry Connick Jr.
Okay.
In the voiceover world, the promo game is very, very, very competitive.
Right. I'm
very
sure.
competitive. I kind of play in the NFL of voiceover.
Okay.
Right. So for me to kind of come out the gate and basically score on my first play of the game.
Rookie quarterback,
was crazy.
First play.
Yeah, first play goes for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So it was an everyday gig. You record every day and you're on daytime talk show television. You're being seen by millions of people every day. So that was my first gig right out of the gate. And I was introduced to the NFL immediately from when I basically got drafted. Right. So that's very unusual. And I kind of just got thrown right into the mix, right into the fire. And I would say within I didn't realize how big of a deal it was at the time, right? And then maybe as a couple months went by, I was like, oh snap,
I'm here.
This is wild. This is really different. And then I started to see the potential of what voiceover really could be for some parts of the industry, So because voiceover is so vast, there's a lot of work. I mean, it's a $15 billion business, which a lot of people don't realize.
I didn't know that, no.
Big money industry. It really is. And there is an upper echelon as far as the type of work that can pay out, really good, really well for voice actor talent. So, but like I said, it's incredibly competitive. And just, I guess, being prepared and doing the training and coaching that I got before then really helped me because the coach that I worked with before I signed with my agency, he would tell me, listen, you're about to go to the NFL. And he's like, that's great. And he's like, the crazy thing is you're going to the NFL straight from high school. You're skipping college, right? And this is what he told me. He said, that's cool. But now you're in the NFL. how do you go up against the Tom Brady's, the Drew Breeses, the Philip? At the time, they were all still playing.
Right.
But he's saying, how do you compete against? He's like, you're going to be in the 1%, right? But now you got to compete against the 1% of the 1%. And like, do you want to be a third stringer or you want to be a starter? And I was like, okay. Thank God he was a Saints fan because he was able to translate football into voiceover terms. So it was really easy for me to understand his type of coaching. And he really helped me excel within a few months. It was like I went from here to here because it was like an intensive. We really took the time to get my ability and skill and talent from beginners. It was still an amateur beginner type, but I was ready to compete.
You saw that.
Exactly.
He saw that in you.
Exactly.
That takes... I pay attention to a lot of like leadership like that. And there's different styles. I'm an observer. So when I'm working in these places, no matter where I was, in the NFL, college football, I'm always just observing how things work from the top down. And it's aggravating, like the lack of leadership within a lot of just places in life. And you need more people like that truly can see, the talent in someone and who to pour something into, who, just got to run their own race. Some people can't take guidance, and it's going to take for them to like crash out before they get it. But I love that. And I know you have an eye for film still, and just outside of just voiceover actor, you're into a lot of things. Tell us about the things you've been consulting on and just what you like. What are you watching nowadays, and what's your kind of eye for film? And
yeah, it's funny because you talked about artistry and creating, and and I'm an artist who consumes a lot because I try to, draw inspiration from a lot of different places, like stuff that's very unconventional for what you would think, right? Like YouTube, like I think YouTube is the greatest thing ever created. Like,
what rabbit holes are you down?
Well, listen, first of all, I'm like I watch a lot of like video essays, like geopolitical stuff. Get into a lot of like the mind behind like how chefs run their kitchens and restaurants.
Yes, chef.
I watch a lot of automotive stuff, automotive journalism. Like I love wheels and cars and how cars go, electric cars, gas cars. So I'm into video games, love video games. Like I love video, voice acting for video games. I got a lot of colleagues that work in the video game voiceover industry, so I always try to like consume different types of media that are talking about different types of things because the world is a complex place. The more you try to understand, the more well-rounded you can be. You can walk into a room and have all different types of conversations, But as far as what I'm watching, I know I'm digging into Suits right now. I'm going on a Suits binge on Netflix. It's going crazy. I'm on the last season.
Dang, finish.
Yeah, I'm about to finish. I watch a lot of Apple TV stuff, Invasion, Foundation. I love sci-fi, always did.
Amen.
Like The Matrix is OG for me. So been digging into some of that. And trying to watch some movies here and there. Just checked out Indiana Jones. Just watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was absolutely fire. And just really trying to keep my eyes to the, I was going to say ears to the street, but that don't make sense. But keep my eyes to the screen for different types of stuff. And my subscriptions page on YouTube is wild. Like I got audio engineering to, traveling to other countries to, I was watching camping in Korea last night just because I like the ASMR vibes of it.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It's just, I always try to
broaden your
mix it up. Yeah,
man.
try to mix it up. Yeah, try to mix it up.
That's what this show is about, and that's what I want to do and I help people do. And speaking to gentlemen like this, man, come on now. We are podding. We're podding. That's what I'm doing. We're here. We're going. Everything you said just is a testament to how I am. Also, maybe not that deep, but
yeah, I be deep with it. I know I'm deep with it. My wife thinks I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? She thinks I'm crazy.
But that's the people I want to speak with, man, because I enjoy that. I'm interested just in how interested in many things that you are into. And I love that. Shoot, you can rap my dad. He's a car guy. He's got his car YouTube. I'll plug his YouTube. We're going to get that going too more. But he's like restoring a donk. He had
oh, wow.
1969 Thunderbird. Don't be mad at me if I got that wrong. But it's It's old school whip he's put together. He's invested in over the last few years and doing a YouTube thing, and he can talk cars all day.
Yeah.
I go to car shows with him when I can. I'm not that deep into it as much as he would like, but I enjoy it. I just enjoy the surface level, like, oh, that whip look fire.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
drive that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know one of the things that like I try to be very conscious of and intentional of over the last couple of years is like when I'm on YouTube to really like listen to other masters of their craft, right? So like last year I started following this auto detailer, right? And like this dude has his own channel and he's amazing. The amount of knowledge that he has about how to treat, you know, like mouse piss stains and restoration vehicles is crazy. And then he came out with his own line of, you know, products and stuff. But there's a reason why this guy is as good as he is because his experience is unmatched. Like McLaren calls this dude and says, we got a new car down in Manhattan. We need you to touch it up. Like straight, like they're unveiling it. And they're like, before we reveal it to any potential customers, we need to call you. You know, so it's like, he's that guy. That's how good he is. And, you know, he goes there with he comes up in a Porsche. Like he doesn't come in a van. He got everything in a Porsche and he brings all his tools out and he talks about, look at this, look at that. Like I'm going to go over it with my light and there's a reason why I do this. And I, you know, through my years of experience and the reason why I started following other masters of their craft, because everybody's got a process, right? Everybody has their own way of doing things. And the way that they've been doing them for so long has gotten to them to this level of mastery, right? And one of my coaches that I used to work with, the guy that I mentioned earlier that was converting football terms into voiceovers.
Saints fan, yeah.
Yeah, big Saints fan. He would tell me there's 3 I's to mastery. There's imitation, there's integration, and then there's innovation, right? And he says, you know, you start off imitating other people, right? Impersonating other people. The second phase is integration. You take what you've consumed and you apply kind of your own swag to it, right? That second eye, though, can take 30, 40 years before you get to the third eye, right? And then that third eye is innovation. When you are creating and you are putting out where it is so uniquely you that now other people are starting with their first eye impersonating you. You know what I'm saying? So there's 3 eyes to mastery, and some people have achieved that. And and I really think that people that I consider masters would not consider themselves at that third eye. Exactly. So even in my own mentality, there's a lot of things that I do in my life, right? I'm involved in a lot of different things. But to me, I wake up some days and like, man, I ain't doing enough. You know, I don't do enough stuff. But when I take a step back, I'm like, all right, I need to chill out because I'm tired, you know. But there's a lot of times where I feel like I'm stagnant. I'm not moving forward. I'm not doing something new. I'm being complacent, even though I'm not. But that's just how I'm hardwired.
How do you get yourself out? Is it literally you pulling yourself up from the bootstraps, family, wife, kids, coaches, or
I might pick up the phone, call a friend, a colleague and then they're like, the colleague might tell me, oh yeah, I'm working on this, I'm dropping that, we got this going on, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get back in my duffel. You know, I need to go take a coaching class. Like I still get coaching. Like I still pick up coaching. I work with 3 different coaches on rotation, just to keep my skills intact and make sure I kind of keep my ears to the street about how I need to pick up on new skills and stuff like that within the industry. You know, so I'm trying to always like stay involved with something, whether it's volunteering, whether it's consulting, whether it's doing creative development, whether it's, you know, focusing on my craft. I'm always trying to do better, be better, move forward.
Right. I love that. Can you tell us, take us, what is improving your craft and your voice when you meet with these coaches, just to dive deeper into voiceover acting with the terminology and everything like that?
I can go very deep. You know? But I understand what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, like what does that look like? Is it coming in the studio? Is it like voice control? I'm very curious.
No, it's funny because in the beginning, like when you're coaching and you're learning a lot more about how to be a voice actor, there's a lot of like leaps and bounds that you're taking. You're trying to get from here to there. You're trying to get from here to here, right? At this stage of the game, a lot of what I'm working on is going from here to there.
At a micro.
It's just very small adjustments that happen to make very large differences. But it's a lot of tweaking, little tweak here, little tweak there, little tweak there. And that's really what I try to work on. And in the beginning, a lot of it was working on the technical aspect of voiceover. Now, you know, the way it was put to me was I had done a really great job of focusing on how to build a picture frame. And what I needed to learn how to do a lot better was to actually paint the picture within the frame. Right. So that was the technicality aspect of it that I worked on first. And then the art aspect of it was what I tried to work on since then. And really, I'm trying to build upon the art side of painting a picture instead of building a frame. Building a frame, that's really a carpenter's job, right? But the artist is the one that's painting the picture, you know? So, and if you can kind of put those two things together, it's a recipe for success. But the second eye and mastery takes time, you know? So that's what we're still working on.
Yeah, people don't want to hear 30, 40 years.
No. And you know what? I got time to wait. Like, I'm willing. Hey, look, I had mentioned to you off air before, you know, 1% of progress is progress. You know, as long as you're not going the other direction. And if you go in the other direction, just try to bounce back twice as hard, you know? Yeah. So I always try to play the long game. I'm not in it for the short-term success, so to speak. I think playing the long game is way more important and enjoying the process. Like, it's like when you play a football game, right? The best part about the game is not the end of the game. Right. It's playing the game, right? Like, playing is what's so fun. I'm playing the game, right? And I enjoy playing the game. And some people want to win the game in the first quarter, and that's fine. Right. But, like, you want to go to the Super Bowl, you got to win one game. You win the next game. And sometimes you got to lose. You lose a game to a division opponent, right? But you still got to stay the course. You still got to keep pushing. And then, you know, in the offseason, you got to go 3 times as hard because that's when championships are really won. You know, so when people have no idea when you're working behind the scenes, and when I didn't have work, what was I doing? Right. I was going 3 times as hard because I'm like, I need to get myself back another job, you know? So it's really a lot about that grinding that nobody is seeing, you know? The whole character thing. What are you doing when the door is closed, when no one's watching? So, yeah, that's a lot of how we got here. And the older I get and the more I've been able to work on and do and accomplish, the more I realize people who are truly successful in this world, they work unbelievably hard. Yeah. And when you get to a certain point, you got to work even harder. Right. Right? Because now the stakes are way higher, you know? So, like, the stakes for me are way higher now than they were back then. And my hustle is as hard, but it's not the same, right? It's a different type of hustle now that I'm doing different things. That's bullshit. But I'm still hustling like crazy. It's just, the foundation's been built. Right. Before I was actually laying the concrete. Trying to build it. Right. Now the concrete's been built, right? But I got to maintain the home. That's kind of how you got to look at it.
Because I remember last season when I was at Films, were you sick or something happened? They told us after, it was like, oh yeah, EJ, it's like, I don't know if you're in a hospital or...
Oh yeah, I had pneumonia. Oh yeah, that was bad.
But they said you were still working in the hospital.
100%. 100%.
Bro, it was like...
Oh, 100%. Oh man, I booked like 3 different movie trailer campaigns, did them from the hospital bed. That's I had a blanket and like threw the blanket over me. Oh yeah, I'm a monster when it comes to working.
Was there a picture?
Nah.
Maybe I'm making up my head.
Nah.
But...
Oh yeah, nah. Word. Yeah, I had pneumonia. Like, couldn't breathe on the oxygen machine. It was wild, man. Like, I was like, man, I never had pneumonia before. So I came out of nowhere, and woke up, just didn't feel good. Went to the ER and was like, it was crazy.
Still grinding.
Oh yeah. I don't stop, bro.
I forget. I mean, I think it was inside the NFL.
Yeah, I did inside from the hospital bed.
Okay, that's what it was. I didn't have
twice.
Okay,
twice.
Was it 2 weeks? You were in 2 weeks?
Yeah. It was like I went in on a Monday, and I was there for a while. I was there for like 10 days, and the next Wednesday I got discharged, and I did it. So Tuesday I had to do it.
I remember
got it done.
It was the 1 week I wasn't inside too much, but I had a piece, and it was it was from the other side. I was like, oh shoot, like what's gonna happen? Who's doing this? EJ, something happened to EJ's in the hospital. And it was like, oh no, he still did it. We're good.
You know what's crazy? Delivered my best read of the season.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. And they said that too. They were like, did you just deliver the best like read all year? And I was like, yes.
Knocking them out the
park. Let me go to sleep. All right, thank you. Goodbye.
That's funny.
You know what was even funnier? So I'm reading for Inside, and I'm in the hospital. I got the blanket on me. You know, obviously the people at the hospital was like, what is this dude doing? Like, I'm under a blanket. Like, I got all my gear and stuff. So out of nowhere, get this crazy. I'm on the line with the producers. get this crazy knock on the door. Been told my nurses, hey, I'm going to be unavailable at this time. Like, please don't come in. Lady, someone's banging on my door. And I'm like, I told y'all, like, I'm busy, right? The door opens. Now, I don't know what's happening because I'm under the blanket. Door opens. I hear all this noise, like rustling of the trash can. And I come up from under the blanket. It's the cleaning lady. So the cleaning lady comes in, don't say a word, just making all this noise. And I said, ma'am, can you leave? I'll be just a minute. I'm like, so I'm literally on the line with the producers. And they're like, EJ, what's going on? And I'm like, guys, the cleaning lady is not trying to leave. Like, she ain't leaving.
Grinding.
And they were like, can you kick her out? I was like, I tried, but she gave me she like a, she like somebody black grandma, like, and I ain't trying to really disrespect her. You know what I mean?
She put that tone on.
Like, she put that, and I'm like, I asked you nicely, and she wasn't having it. So I had to let her finish cleaning the room, and then we got back to work. But
hey, shout out to her, grinding.
Yeah, I guess so. She put me in my place. So
doing her job.
I found out she did not make the final cut, unfortunately, in the recording. Thank God, because I probably would have lost my job. But yeah, it was all good. But yeah, there's a couple times that, especially like in the trailer promo game, you gotta be ready to work at a moment's notice, actually. That's a whole nother side of
availability.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you do trailers and stuff, they, like, an ASAP read for, like, anything that's not a trailer is like, oh, we need it in a couple of hours. That's, like, ASAP. In trailers, when they say we need it ASAP, that means they needed it 20 minutes ago. So, like, I go to a restaurant with the wife. I sit down, like, my butt touches the chair. Boom, email. We need it now. All right. Right back to the car.
It's a different lifestyle.
Take it and send it out.
So you always keep gear on you, right?
I don't leave the crib without it. I got my gear in the car right now because you never know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on some campaigns. They called me 1 o'clock in the morning Sunday night.
Need it.
Yeah, we were trying to air this promo during the Bachelor tomorrow night. we need you to do this right now. I'm like, all right, I'll be ready in 15 minutes.
Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Hey, look, man, that's part of the game. Like I said, I'm playing the game, but the game requires you to play at the high. If you're trying to play at the highest level, you got
in the league, baby.
You got to play. Yeah. So I don't complain about it because that's what I signed up for. You know what I'm saying? But and me, I'm very humble. Like, I'm humble pie, but I am super competitive. Like, I like to win. Like, if I'm playing, we playing the game. I'm playing to win. I'm not playing to play. I'm playing to win.
You play to win the game.
When I first met my wife, she took me to her family's house for Christmas, and they love playing board games and stuff. I was in there making a scene. It was guys versus girls. We were playing Taboo. And her uncle was drawing and struggling. And I basically pulled him aside and said, you need to get your stuff together because I am not trying to lose. And if you want to keep acting like this, you're going to sit at the end of the bench.
Right.
And, everybody was looking at me like, yo, what's wrong with this dude? It was like, what's up with this dude? And my mother-in-law looked at my wife and was like, oh, you found the perfect match. Because my wife is super competitive, too. So I was like, I play to win. My wife plays to win. So when we play board games, like, it's on. Like, you know what's funny? I will not play her in Monopoly because she cheats. But for real, she's just super good at Monopoly.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I mean, she no.
If you get caught, you ain't
no.
But if you get caught, you ain't trying hard enough.
No, she's just
Vince
wilding.
Lombardi said that.
She's wilding, and I won't. I don't condone it. I don't condone it. So we play something else. But yeah, so just super competitive. But I think that you can be like super humble and super hungry at the same time. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that.
Beast.
But like, yeah. So if you playing at that level, like, you gotta do everything you gotta do to compete. So, and that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Bro, that's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm literally soaking in every word in you're saying, man. I know it's true because I've seen it on the athletic side, and I'm just trying to translate that here. And I mean, I tell people that's why I love football. I mean, I know we're all a part of football. It really like emulates life, and that's the one message. Whenever I go talk to old teams or kids, I wish I had more time to talk to them like that. It really just emulates life because you can take any lesson from football, good, bad, like you said. It's about being in the moment, playing in the game. You gotta get out there, and then just have fun with it. Do what you want to do, what you dream of, and
give it your all.
Give it your all.
Yeah, got to give it your all when you're out there.
Ain't no half-stepping.
Right.
Get hurt like that.
Yeah, exactly. I've been there. I know you've been there too. It's no joke.
let's get back to, some of your work.
Funny, so I actually like that whole scenario about the film noir thing. I actually used that same inspiration one time to tell a documentary story about a true crime series. When I was working on a true crime doc, and I was trying to figure out how do I want to tell this story, and I remember I was talking to one of my coaches. He was just like, man, like I could really feel like the trench coat with the rain vibes. And I remember thinking like, oh, like I'm gonna call. And remember I talked to you about like when I coach, like it's about pulling out of my tool belt at a moment's notice. And that was something I put in there a couple of years ago.
That's hard.
So I just call back on it and then just use it and then ride with it. You know, so
that's hard.
Yeah.
Well, tell us where you're at now. I know you, like you said, you've been a long time voice, NBC Sports, inside the NFL.
Yeah.
But you've just, I guess, taken another step in that direction. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Man, I don't want to sound like I'm like bragging here.
Please don't. This is the place to brag. For people that won't brag outside, please come do it.
I'm a very humble dude. I like doing what I do. And I usually don't talk about it too much. But doing Sunday Night Football on NBC. I just kicked off the NFL season with the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you. This is my third season doing Sunday Night Football. I've been the voice of the Golf Channel for the last 3 years. Been the voice of Freeform for the last 4 years. DAZN, I'm the international English voice for DAZN Boxing. Been doing that since 2018. I do a lot of work for NFL Films, Top 100, Inside the NFL.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Well, for you as well, obviously, but I'm excited for that show. I love the kind of switch up just did.
Me too. I think it was a necessary evolution of the show.
Yes.
And I think that's got a lot of great potential. And I think it's just up to us to get it there. So I think, we'll build on the first episode and just keep building as the season goes on and continue to have fun with it, man.
Yeah, I love that. I'm looking forward to that. You mentioned... Well, I want you to speak on 31 Nights of Halloween you did.
Okay.
Because like we said, you're a very broad perspective guy.
Sure.
Working outside of sports. So tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's funny because right before I became the voice of Freeform, I was focusing a lot on when I was training. I was doing I spent 2019 training every week. I invested a lot of money, a lot of time. And that's the stuff that a lot of people won't talk about, who really are. I invested a lot into my craft, a whole lot. From January to December, every week, I was doing training.
Deposits.
Oh, yeah. And was it cheap? Absolutely not. But I was using the money that I was making to invest in myself. And my coach was, getting me ready for, we were doing Halloween scripts. We were just working on Halloween stuff. And I got an audition, 2 weeks after we had just finished doing some Halloween stuff. And I felt so ready to do Halloween, and that was my introduction to Freeform and 31 Nights of Halloween. And as a matter of fact, I just wrapped up 6 scripts over the last 2 days doing 31 Nights of Halloween. It's already that time of the year again,
spooky season.
Yeah, so that's how I got in, because when I was practicing, I was telling them I really want to get into spooky, and I started doing this thing with my fingers when I would read kind of an evil genius. So 31 Nights of Halloween, all October long, only on Freeform. And that was how I did my audition. And they called me you want to do this job?
You got it, bro.
And I've been with them ever since. And I really enjoy doing the Halloween stuff and getting to do a different side of me. But it's acting. I really got to fall into the role or the character that I need to tell that story.
Nice, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Bro, how can you not call him back?
Yeah, because it's a whole vibe. It's got to come up.
Right.
I remember basically when I coach, what we're trying to accomplish is adding tools to the tool belt, right? So I'll spend an hour in a coaching session for something that I'm going to need in a moment's notice, right? And what we talked about with the Halloween stuff is bring the energy up from the floor. It's it's something's creeping in. Yeah, something's coming up. I'm a Christian, so I gotta make sure there's a fine separation between my work and who I am. But and making sure that I keep myself detached from certain Halloween aspects.
Yeah.
But I love doing horror films for movie trailers, so that's something I really enjoy. But I wanted to kind of bring up this energy from the floor that was like, and you can see as I'm raising you can see me kind of channeling that energy, and then I try to project it into the character that I'm providing for the piece. So, you know, it's an art to it, you know, and that's why I talked about the masters and their processes and how they figured things out and how to do a thing that might be like something this small in the course of their work, but it's game changing. Yeah, you know.
I feel like I'm learning it's layers to it. It's not just a voice and I talk. It's
no
those micro layers to just make it, you know, hit the way you want it to.
The voice is really 25% of the deal. There's 75% of the business side, the art side, the communication side, the relatability side, the personality side, the personable side, the way you work with producers, the way you work with casting directors, and it's so much more complicated than what people see on the surface. Right. It's like most things. Most professionals make what they do look super easy. Yeah. You think LeBron makes what he does look very easy. Jordan made it look easy. Tom Brady made it look easy, but you and I both know there was an unbelievable amount of work taking place behind the scenes.
Hours.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, just as a pivot, but you speaking on, you know, setting a boundary between what you're working on. I'm not sure if you saw Snowfall actor
Damson Idris.
Damson Idris
Absolutely.
Speak on like he really felt a hold was on his spirit from the role he had to take on. So that's what you can speak to that.
That's a real thing, because when you give, you know, what people don't understand about even like just like actors for television and movies, what people don't understand is the amount of energy that they put into their work. They become who you see, who they portray. Like he became Franklin. You know what I mean? Like he became
Franklin Saint.
He was a you know, and I love the show. I just finished the final season.
Oh, word.
You know,
I might have to rewatch it.
Oh, he was amazing. You know, but you invite this character into you, right? Good, bad. It's a lot of the amount of energy that actors put into it. It's life changing. Yeah. It's life altering. I mean, you know, rest in peace to Heath Ledger. You know, people talk about his role with the Joker, and they said, "Well, did him being the Joker affect his life in real life?" And I'm sure that it did. You know, I'm sure that it had some type of. It's so intense. They're so intentional with making they call it making choices. You have to make a choice when you act. You know, you make a choice to say this line that way. You make a choice to provide this type of emotion. It's all about making choices within acting. So even in voice acting, you got to make a choice, right? So when I did that was a choice, you know, that was a choice that I chose, but that's also what helped set me apart for the role, right. You know, so some choices work, some don't, but it can definitely take a toll on the actor.
I mean, from a consumable, you know, site, I believe that because I believe those characters. Like, I think that's what makes shows so, you know, tough.
Amazing.
It's like, yo, that's why I like fiction. Me and my brother go back and forth on just content debates. Like, I didn't really like that movie. It was too this. He's like, it's too fake and this. I'm like, but that's kind of what television film is. It's to take you somewhere else to what that show, film, movie is doing.
Yes.
And that's the same thing I feel with music. I really appreciate, I may not like what they saying, but someone that takes me to whatever they going through, whether it's the streets of Compton or whatever, or their heart is broken in Australia, laying by the river, whatever it may be, they can take me there. It's like, dang, I feel that. And that's why I want to speak to creators and just artists like that, because my perspective is being brought into that world.
And even with music, like I love music, right? And I personally think, and this is my own humble opinion, that all art aspires to be music, to be what music is as far as art. Because you can listen to a song, and that song can transport you to a time and place 20 years ago. You know exactly where you were. You knew exactly what you were doing. Boom. And it like comes into your head like that. you know. And there's songs I listen to. Oh, I remember exactly where I was. Or there's an album I listen to, and it reminds me of driving with my mom to the Philadelphia Mills Mall when it was still the Franklin Mills Mall, you know. So I remember what video game I was playing at the time. Like that's how deep of an art music is to a lot of people. You know, it transports so many people to so many places. So. You know, it's just art, and it's such a beautiful thing as a human form of connection, and it's why humanity is amazing.
Yeah, we need music, man. I always say that to Nothing Was the Same has always been my favorite Drake album. A lot of my homies can attest to it because we were going through the same thing and just literally just talking about it takes me to freaking campus, college campus, Penn State, freshman year, cold, first time away from home. Rainy days, gotta walk the whole campus, get back to practice, and just that was on my little iPad shuffle. Yeah, my boys laughed at me. I've always been late with like technology. Like,
hey, it don't matter. Whatever floats your boat, man. That's all that matters.
Like I wasn't an iPhone user until like 2015, 16.
Same. I was Android all day for a long time, but you know.
See, I didn't even have an Android. I always was like just different. Like
that's different. That's different. That's real different.
I had a Windows phone. I don't know if nobody was even up on it. But everybody was like, yo, what phone is that?
Huh?
I don't even know what the name of it was, but long story short, I got an iPhone like 2015, 16, and I didn't have to use the iPod Shuffle anymore, but the iPod Shuffle got me through freshman, sophomore year. I was going through it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all come to a point. We got music that came to us at a time where like we needed to hear certain things. I know for me it was Born Sinner by J. Cole, the whole album, like one of my
shout out Cole, man.
favorites of it was 2012, and I think I had just turned 20. It was like the summer I turned 20, and I used to work on a golf course doing maintenance, so I was like cutting fairways, cutting greens, cutting tees, and doing all the landscaping and stuff. And
is that where you got into golf, or were you always?
No, I mean, I didn't get into golf till recently. But I really what that summer.
Paying?
Not even that. I think it was more that summer was more about character. Like it was more about like figuring out like I had to learn how to take pride in my work, right? Because if I didn't, I was getting yelled at by my boss. But I was like, all right, like I'm gonna cut this in a certain way. I'm gonna get up at 4:30 6 days a week and be on the course doing my job. And I had to do a good job. And I really started to care. And the album that I would listen to, Born Sinner, like J. Cole was talking about transitions in life. And I'm like, 20 and like becoming a man. And, you know, it was just one of those albums that just, to this day, like it's just on my heart, you know? It's on my heart.
I love that. Shoot, man. Cole, I can attest to that more recently in my life. Like you said, transition. I always been a fan of Cole, but he wasn't in the rotation that heavy. But nowadays, it's like I'm on that whole like he's on that Mount Rushmore. People don't necessarily, unless you're a real Cole fan, don't want to put him up there. But it speaks to you differently.
Oh yeah,
it speaks to you differently.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like I feel like some of the lyrics are like written, engraved in my brain, and it could just spit out. Like I can hear the beat, and I'll just start like rapping right with him.
Been to a concert?
Yeah, he came to my school.
Okay.
I don't know how my school pulled these artists. Like, I saw Kendrick in college, like a month after he dropped Good Kid, Mad City. Craziest concert to this day. To this day, I was in the front row rapping every word. Yeah, and like I knew him as K-Dot. I was listening to Section 80, and I was listening to his stuff, cartoons and cereal, you know, with Gunplay. I mean, I was a still am a diehard Kendrick fan, and then he just popped up at school in the spring, like with Good Kid, Mad City.
What school is this?
I went to Bloomsburg in Pennsylvania. It's about an hour away from Penn State, and they were like, "Yeah, we're bringing Kendrick in." Where the tickets at? Let me sign up.
I need that.
What a time. Wiz Khalifa came like right after Cabin Fever came out, the mixtape. I'm like,
mixtape Wiz, bro.
Different. I still listen to Wiz Khalifa is top 5 for me.
Bro. I always
top 5
joke.
for me.
My high school boys know, like, I really thought I was part of Taylor Gang at a certain point in high school.
Because we were part of Taylor Gang. I couldn't wear Chucks, though, because I was like 280 pounds and my knees hurt. So I was like, I couldn't wear the Chucks, man.
That's funny.
Couldn't do it.
TGOD.
Yeah, TGOD, man.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Nah, K-Dot, shout out my brother, Bean, my big brother, Keenan. Definitely I mean, older brother, influenced heavy by him, definitely musically. So he's 6, 5 years older than me. At that time, I think he was in high school. So I was getting put on. I was just, listening to what he was listening to. So same with you, heavy on K-Dot, the early K-Dot, Section 80s. Yeah. And it's like, I don't think I understood half of what he was saying, but it sounded good. And now it's like you said, it's still in rotation.
Well, it's like, he's so mainstream now that like, not nothing against that, but it was like.
Music always changes. I don't care what nobody say. It changes.
But the mixtape era the message in general was just different. Mm-hmm. It was different. So, love me some music, man. Love me some music.
I can dig it. So you told us about, the fun role. What was most difficult? Gave you the most strife, stress? Maybe you couldn't just hit that pitch or whatever it was the right way? Or you just been knocking them out the park? Because you still in that zone, you in that zone.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to really like connect quickly with a producer or with the script. I mean, I'm just being honest. But I think I don't think it's necessarily a role, because there's really aren't too many roles that I like don't like. Mm-hmm. But I will say that there are times when like you work with a producer who maybe isn't aware of what it is that they actually want in a session. Yeah. So sometimes they'll make you do something a lot. Like I was working on a commercial, and sometimes just in a commercial game, they just ask for a lot, right? So, I mean, I did 75 takes of 2 different lines. And I'm like, and I was kind of like, listen, there's only a few different ways that these 2 lines can be said, and we're at 75. God. Like, I'm not really sure if you don't have it now. I don't know if I'm gonna give it to you, right? But they're paying for the time, so I'm gonna give them the time. But I'm just saying. But to the most part, and for the majority of my career, I've really enjoyed working with every producer, and I've never had any bad blood. I've been fired in the middle of a session before. I didn't do anything wrong, but they just decided to, I got hired to be the voice of Fox Sports Wisconsin. Okay. And I got fired in the middle of my session after like a week. And they were like, we just decided to change directions. Okay. Producer, it wasn't his call. Right. But he was like, I just got the email. They just let you go. I was like, so am I going to do we got to read? And he's like, yeah, I don't think so. And then that was it, and done.
They pay you still for your time?
Yeah, still got paid for my time, but then they ended up hiring somebody else. But sometimes it be like that. And
like you said, you're gonna lose a game. You're gonna drop a ball.
Yeah, you're gonna miss. You're gonna miss a 3. You're gonna miss an open receiver or miss a block. So you just keep pushing. Play the next. Keep playing.
Tell whoever's in my circle, when I give advice, it's always the same way. Football advice. They say, playing defense in general, but being a corner, got to have a short memory. Yeah. Don't let your last play affect your next play. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's just got to keep rolling. The nature of the business is I work in entertainment, and things can change very quickly, So been keeping that mentality since the beginning.
I can dig it. I want to let's go back to you saying you're a humble man, and I can definitely attest to that. But that's been part of my procrastination at the same time.
Okay.
With this, it's just I'm humble, and for God's sake, I hate talking about myself. Just as we're saying, getting a little older, indulging in life, and I think it's one of my greatest gifts is really just relating, having the ability to relate with anyone and have those conversations. Because I find myself in random places talking to random people, and it doesn't bother me at all. I enjoy it, and I just enjoy the conversation. So that's just been where I want to take this, and get my other side of personality out there, as you spoke on as well. And but at the same time, I think I'm one of the most quietly confident people you ever meet, though. At the same time, anyone that know me is like, nah, I can do that. I can do that. I'm not gonna say that, but they know I can do better than that.
But quiet excellence. Is huge. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
Because there's nothing like I mean, humility will open more doors for you than being arrogant and having an ego, right? But you can be humble and still be a hungry dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going to go after it, but I don't have to necessarily talk about it, right? Because really, you can get to a point where the stuff that you've done, your accomplishments and everything you achieved, that'll enter the room before you do.
Yeah, speak for you.
So what do I really need to say? Like,
Right.
what do I need to talk about? Like, everything that you need to know is in the work, like, is in what you see me working on and what I'm doing. Like, and I don't have to talk about anything, really. I'll walk in the room, keep my mouth shut, and they can play 20 different spots that I've worked on. And then it's like, well, what do I need to talk about? I mean, you see the effort, you know? So as you continue to grow and keep building on this, just remember that, man. People will see what the work is through the product that you put out.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. And I want you to just speak on, we were getting pretty motivational, I'd say.
Sure.
In the beginning of this. I'm not sure if the cameras were even rolling, but you were just talking about the piece of advice your dad gave you. And
Yeah.
I think I live by quotes. I have lived by quotes. I just hear things, and my phone is full of, my notes app is full of just quotes. Most of them that I can remember from years and years, because, when you're trying to move in the right direction, those things do help you. They ping you off the wall. I was like, okay, let me keep going. I remember this. Someone told me this once, and like, damn, I haven't thought about it since, but they was right. It was spot on. Like,
Yes.
Let me keep doing this. Let me keep going.
3 quotes. There's 3.
Quotes, okay.
3 quotes from 3 different stages of my life. One as a kid, one kind of as like a late teenager, one as an adult. And the one as a kid came from my parents, and I live by it to this day. If you go on my IG, it's in the bio of my IG.
That's how you know it's real.
Yeah. And it says, we do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. And like, it's a very simple thing to say and think about, but it requires an unbelievable amount of execution, right? If you really want to accomplish something, if there's something that you really want to do, what do you have to do to get there, right? And then it's like, all right, well, I need to take this step to get to that place. And then I get to that place, how do I get to the next place? Oh, I got to take this step. It's literally like layers upon layers upon layers, all in this one little quote. But once you kind of like engrave that quote, like, doing anything that you need to do to get somewhere becomes like second nature. Like, you don't think about it. Like, when I think about like busting my tail, like, to me, it's just doing what I have to do.
Right.
It's not busting my tail,
Right.
That's the first quote. Second quote is the quote I talked to you about earlier about what my dad said. I was coming to a point where I started to think about the people around me, and just like where my life was, I could kind of start seeing that it was trying to bud and bloom into this
Branch
other thing.
off.
Yeah. And my dad said, look, we're all at a train station, and the train's coming into the station. Yeah, either you get on the train or you don't. You're going to have friends that don't get on the train. They're going to stay at the station. He said, but you have to get on the train. You got to keep moving forward on to the next place. All right. And then my third quote is actually something I got from a Football Life from NFL Films.
Okay.
I used to watch every single Football Life at lunch.
Spooky.
The weather outside is frightful. So I was watching a Football Life during my lunch break one day on the VSR, and I was watching Tony Romo. Now, I'm not a Dallas fan, and most people that know me know that.
We got a few.
Shout out to the Cowboys fans behind the cameers.
I'm not even an Eagles fan, but having multiple Cowboys fans in a small crew, that may be an issue. I don't know.
It's something we could talk about later.
About to
But,
say, we in Philly, y'all gotta.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
He's got his blue on, so, he's repping when he ain't repping.
On the low, it's just a T. No logos.
But I was watching his documentary on him, and he said something that I found just so profound. In football, when you wake up every day and when you're playing, like, you're always thinking about beating the man across from you, right? And he talked about how that was the same for him too. But he said, one day I realized when you wake up and realize that all I got to do is beat the man in the mirror, the man across from you doesn't matter anymore. And I remember thinking to myself, that might have been the hardest thing I ever heard. And I started applying that to my voiceover career, because I think that a lot of times you look at other people's success. And that is not even just about voiceover. That's in life. Sometimes you look at friends, colleagues, some people are doing better than others, right? And you want you
What they portray.
Yeah, and but not even that, but some people are doing really well, right? And the first thing sometimes you want to do is, I want to be there, or I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not at that point. And I realized, like, that's irrelevant, right? Comparing yourself to other people is irrelevant, because they're not you. They don't know what you've been through. You don't know what they've been through either, right? And everybody's been through something. And
everybody.
and I started applying that to my own life. And I started to notice that things started changing for the better. And I've kind of adopted that ever since. And I just worry about me. You know, I worry about what I'm doing. I'm worried about what I'm working on. I don't worry about anybody else and what they're doing. And I support the people in my life that are doing things. But I never am like, oh, I need to be doing better.
Right.
I need to be, you know. No. It's not about that. It's about doing my thing and focusing on my craft and myself and putting myself in positions to be more successful, I suppose.
Amen, man. That's something my dad always said. I don't know if it's a quote, but he always just told me, ain't nothing better than your own. And I take that with me with anything, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Bag of chips, whatever. It's like, you know, yeah, I could ask him for some. He'd give me some, but ain't nothing better than
It's
your
better
own.
than when it's yours. No doubt about that.
Your lane, doing what you want to do. And hey, everybody can't go. That's fine. Y'all go do that. I'm still going this way. I'm doing this. And just make time for what you enjoy, no matter what it is.
Well, that really goes back to that first quote that I mentioned about doing what you have to do. Doing what you have to do doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I need to figure out how to start this podcast. It could be, man, like maybe I got some people in my life that are preventing me from flourishing. And maybe I need to separate myself from those people. You know, keep them at arm's length. They don't mean they're not your friends anymore or anything like that, but that might be one of the things you have to do in order to do something that you might want to do. You know, there's a lot and that's why I said it's a very layered quote. It's so easy to say, but it requires a lot of execution on a lot of different fronts of life. Not necessarily for your career or, you know, as an athlete, if you're trying to reach athletic goals, it's about your life and how you see things. I talked to some kids back in the spring of this year. They were some college students. And I talked to them about, you're going to come to a point in your life when you are going to come to a fork in the road and you're going to have to stand in front of the mirror and you're going to have to hold yourself accountable. Like, I know I need to go this way, but I'm going that way and it feels good now and it sounds good now, but I know I really need to go over here. And everyone's going to come to a point in their life when they come to that point and they're going to need to make that choice. Am I going to do what I need to do or am I going to do what I want to do right now, right? So, you know, choices. Yeah. Everybody make choices, man.
Choices, decisions, man.
You got to choose.
Oh, man. Everything you're saying is, I'm there in it. Like,
a lot of when I talk to, like, my mentees and stuff is really coming from, like, look, like, I'm older than you guys, like, and I've been through a little bit more life than you guys have, and all I'm trying to do is help you avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can get to certain points of where I was without going through this, and this, please just listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, and I've been fortunate enough to have worked with some kids that had taken what I had said to them seriously enough to want to pursue their passions. And, you know, I have matter of fact, 2 of my mentees are Penn State students studying broadcast at PSU, so I know that makes you very proud. Exactly. I'm hoping they can get me some tickets to a whiteout game, but I'm not holding my breath.
Okay, what's the name? Shout them out.
I got Joesph and Josiah. They're 2 twins from Trainer, Pennsylvania. Really proud of you, young men. You guys make me really happy. Started with them at church when they were in middle school. Now they're in college and still working with them. I got another kid, Isaiah Freeman. He's in college right now playing quarterback. He just finished up his game.
What do you play for?
Lincoln University, HBCU.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so really proud of all 3 of those young guys, really doing well. But started with church. Basically, when I graduated, while I was working.
Choir?
No, broadcast. Okay. I had actually built our entire broadcast streaming platform from the ground up right out of college. I ran and operated it and managed it for 6 years and trained them all to be videographers, editors, technical directors, camera operators. So we had all the equipment and basically I was just teaching them. Now they all, Isaiah has his own business. He also has his own camera. He shoots highlight videos. While he's playing football, he wants to work for ESPN NFL Films. The twins at Penn State are studying broadcast and cinematography. So, you know, they've kind of taken it to the next level. And I guess, like, as a mentor, that's all you want is just to see them, you know, make some changes and do well and follow their passions, you know. So as a mentor, it brings me a ton of joy to see these young men succeeding. So, and it's been fantastic.
That's beautiful, man. Especially the young man doing both right now. I tell a lot of athletes, like, look, especially in this NIL space, man, and that's what they say in the NFL, the more you can do, there's not enough, you can have all the talent in the world, but we know that can go in a, snap of a finger.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to just expand and maximize every opportunity as you go. My boy Ish, shout out my brother Ish, my partner at Ag Sports. He's pushed me a lot too, because in this business, being an entrepreneur, just saying like, look, everybody got a good plan, but you got to take action, and that's what separates people. And he just always speaks on maximizing your, opportunities. Like,
don't limit yourself.
Man. Just because you're
yourself.
Quarterback or whoever, do whatever you're into outside of football, because it only helps. I mean, make that transition easier because it comes to an end. And you spoke on that. You made a wise business decision. Now, not many of us are even privileged to kind of have it navigate that way. It's just a crash. And it's like, oh, shit, the hell am I about to do now?
Exactly. and in the moment, you're like, what did I just do? Right. But looking back, it's like, man, like, thank God I made that choice when I did. And maybe, but, trusted my gut. Like, I went with my gut, and and I've tended to go with my gut a lot. But at the time, like, I was, sophomore in college. I mean, what did I know? You don't know nothing as a sophomore in college, and you don't know how life's going to turn out. And, you fast forward almost 10 years, and it's like, I probably made the right choice.
Yeah. I love that, man. Yeah, maximize, do whatever you're into, and you're just called to do more things than most. You're called to be a stud athlete, but doesn't mean you can't be that's why I love the podcast game now. These kids got podcasts, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
And, I pay attention to kind of the things I'm inspired by that brought me here with this, just how my mind works. Like I said, open-minded, but love to laugh. I'm a very serious, unserious guy,
Okay.
Like you said, we're dropping knowledge, game, whole bunch of wisdom here, but at the end of the day, I'm going to laugh, because that's just part of life as well, I believe.
You got to laugh.
Gotta laugh.
What did Jimmy Valvano say? He said, if you laugh, cry, and think all within a day, then you've really lived a full day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But so I'm heavily inspired by just stand-up comedy and comedy in general. And, someone said in the comedy game, I got to find an up-and-coming stand-up comic. That's someone I want to speak to. So if you know somebody out there, holla at me. But they said there's no, like, amateur comic. You're up there on stage, you're doing it.
Yeah.
There's no, they're climbing the ranks, but once you're doing it, you're doing it. So same thing, like I said, I'm talking about these college athletes, whatever it is, podcasting, chefing it up. We got to talk a little food. I know you're a foodie as well.
Big foodie.
Yes, chef. Just do it, man. Maximize all your capabilities now. Don't wait till you think, oh, I'll worry about that when football's over. Get to it now. There's enough time. You're a superb person. You're called to do more than the most. You can be an athlete and this and that and still, exceed in all of it. Don't let people limit you, man. I know you pay attention to everything going on in this industry in particular. We got the writer's strike and things like that going on. Can you explain, because, we hear about it, and I'm not going to talk like I know everything about it, but just what does that mean for the landscape, like for actors, voice actors, just the way these TV shows and films are operated?
Yeah, I think we're at a point of, there is like kind of like this point of no return, right? Where the way that things are heading from a technology standpoint, from an artificial intelligence standpoint, from how companies treat their workers standpoint, like there needs to be a change in the way culturally that we see an employer and an employee, right? And, I'm a part of SAG-AFTRA, and we're on strike. And a lot of the theatrical movie trailer work that I do is currently struck at the moment. And, so I'm really not working in that area of voiceover at the moment. But we're fighting for the soul of our industry, right? Because the issues that we are trying to address with the AMPTP is we want to be fairly compensated. We want to make sure that we can continue to work within the next 5 years because of artificial intelligence. Yeah. We want to make sure that when, a show airs on cable television and then gets sold to Netflix, when that transaction happens, that we get fairly paid through residuals. You know, those are like the three major talking points for SAG when it comes to negotiating with the AMPTP.
Okay.
And I serve on the caucus for SAG-AFTRA for movie trailer voice actors in the United States. And basically, I went to a meeting and spoke with our negotiators who are our attorneys who are negotiating on the union's behalf to kind of talk about what it is that we want within the industry as voice actors. And, you know, it was about a 2.5-hour meeting with all different types of actors and voice actors from all over the industry. And the one thing that seems to be common industry-wide is the way that everyone's been being treated.
Just simply,
you know,
wow.
It's just it's really unfair. You know, a lot of these companies are making millions and billions of dollars, and there are colleagues of mine that can't afford to live in Los Angeles to work because they're not making the money.
Right.
You know, I have colleagues that have gotten residual checks that literally are 40 cents.
God.
40 cents.
That's...
You know, you might as well keep the check at that point, you know, don't even send it. And I don't think that it's, you know, it's not from a lack of like wanting to work. We want to work, you know, I want to work. And all of the people that I know that are in SAG want to work because we love what we do. But we just want to be paid for the work that we do when, you know, it seems like only one side's really taking home the pot. So and we're not asking for that much as far as I don't think we're asking for that much. And really it's about a lot of other people. You know, I've been very blessed and fortunate to continue to be working throughout this time on a multitude of different projects, but that's not the case for everybody. And it's you know, I know a lot of people are saying, oh well, you know, actors are millionaires, and I'm like, yeah, that's like half of a percent of the 166,000 people that the union represents. You know, so that's a really small amount of people that are making, you know, tens of millions of dollars. A lot of people are just everyday people that, you know, voice actors that were working from home, doing what they can to make a living. You know? So there needs to be change, and, you know, change doesn't come without some friction, and, you know, but change is also inevitable. So.
And it sucks because from the outside, you see actors and people like, yo, this is what I got paid. And it's kind of like, you know, from the outside, it's like, haha, yo, this shit crazy. But it's like, nah, people really are hurting out there.
People are really struggling.
Just because you hear actor, just the common man is like, oh, yeah, they're fine.
Nah. Yeah, I mean, even like a simple way to put it, right, is like back in the day, like let's take Friends, the show Friends. A lot of people know what Friends is. One of the biggest sitcoms in American television history. Friends used to have like 20 episode seasons. Let's say they did 20 episodes a season, 25 episodes a season. When the show didn't air in the summertime, there's really no new TV in the summer. Or at least that's how it was. And what would happen was they would run Friends reruns all summer. And when the actors would get their checks for the summer stuff, when it would rerun, they were getting paid because that's how it worked. And it was great. And back in the day, we had to go on strike to get those residuals, right? When streamers came around, your Netflixes, your HBO, or, you know, Stream on Max, Disney Plus, they would then purchase the rights to be able to put all those seasons on Netflix. And think about how many people have Netflix and how much Netflix is consumed. Now think about how the way our contracts are set up, that's not the same as how it was on cable. So you get paid just for that one transaction that Netflix made. And depending on what you made when you worked on the show, it could be a decent amount, or it could be as little as 40 cents. You know, so when we talk about what's fair, what's not fair, even with writers, you know, writers would write a 20 episode, you know, season. Now you go on Netflix, a show's got 8 episodes. And then the next season doesn't come out for a year and a half, 2 years. So it's like, all right, now you went from having 20 episodes to work on to now 8, and then may not be able to get a job for another 5 months. So it's not as simple as people think. Right. So there's a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of things that need to be addressed and changed. And that's why we went on strike, because we believe that that time is now. So
I think I can, just the way I view the world, I feel like that's resemblance of everything that's going on right now. Like,
a lot of people are going on strike. You know? Look at UPS workers.
They just struck gold. Well, not struck gold, but they got what they wanted.
Imagine if they stopped working.
You know
what I mean? And they came to a deal before the strike deadline, because they knew if we're going to lose more money of them not working than we are paying them more money. You know what I mean?
That's all it's about, man. The rich stay rich, and the poor just get more greedy. That's how it is, unfortunately. But like you said, I think the world is about to get shaken up.
Yeah.
All these different facets and industries, everybody is
happening.
Fed up. People are fed up.
They are.
They gotta leave.
Well, we're still rolling.
Yeah, we still rolling.
Got the Cowboys fan messing up the blinds. See, that's why we got to talk.
Shoot, man, do you, as much as you've done so far, I know you, like you said, still in that grind mindset. Is there any role you're still aiming for? Goals, awards?
Awards don't I mean, I've been nominated for 5 Emmys, and it's not something I really talk about because to me, it's like, it's great, but I just like to work, man.
Right.
Give me the job. I'm more concerned about putting out good art, you know. To be recognized is wonderful, of course. But for me personally,
we recognize you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. For me personally, I'm really looking to do more, like, not necessarily outside of voiceover, but I really like business development and getting a lot more into that. And that's something that I want to work more on. I currently serve on the board of directors for a credit union. And, the last couple of years, I've been trying to implement some new ideas and adding to our overall vision about where I'd like to see us go and seeing how those things are being implemented into our policy plans and, and how we're trying to just take it to another level. And it's something that's so far outside my comfort zone that I absolutely love it, and it's super complicated and the numbers are crazy and you're learning about, how a financial institution is run. But I love being able to provide perspective and also to challenge the upper level management, because I didn't realize at first that the CEO of the bank answers to us. He is our employee. And it's not that like, we're like, you need to do this. But we basically are challenging him and his vision and his management team to not only put a vision in place, but then to go forth and execute that vision. And where are we? What are we doing? How do we get better? That kind of thing. And it's not really somewhere I saw myself 3-4 years ago, but now that I'm here, it's something I really enjoy. Trying to help guide the credit union into the future and being a part of it's pretty sweet. It's like I'm on the ground floor of something really different.
Talk about making change, man. You got to be in the room first to make something shake.
Yeah, I like being in the room where the decisions are made.
Yeah, man.
I like being there. And I like being in on the decision making.
That's dope.
Yeah.
We joked about it. You said, oh, hell no. But, hey, politician, I feel like you can easily find yourself the way you going. I don't know.
What I will say is, as of late, I have been taking the approach of a sail in the wind. I've been going wherever the Lord takes me.
Amen.
And I'm trying to walk in the utmost faith and just trust. I've trusted God up until this point. I have no reason not to trust him now. He's been keeping a hand on my shoulder for as long as I've been alive, and he's, whether good or bad, there's been a reason for everything. So who knows? I'm not saying, we ain't gonna close the door. I'm not saying Enrique for president 2030 or anything like that, but it's really not something I see myself doing. I see myself being more involved in the community, and I'm something that I've always enjoyed doing is really focusing on like one soul at a time. Because I believe you change one person's life, you can change the world. That is changing the world.
Amen.
So,
amen. Yeah. Hey, man. When that time comes, if it does, you got to do your own promo campaigns.
Absolutely. I ain't paying nobody else to do it. I'm going to just hop right in the booth.
Enrique 2030. Vote or die.
No, I'm not saying that.
TGOD.
That's way too much. Yeah, it's way too much. But if you don't vote, please go out and vote. It's very important. It is your right. So, throw that in there.
Amen. Hey, man, you are casting a wide net, and it's truly inspirational. That's the way my mind works, and you just, like you said, you call a buddy, and they say what they're doing, and you just kick me in another gear. Like, hey, I got to get to it. I got too many things up here, whether it's content-wise, production-wise, leadership-wise, and things I want to do, and community and everything like that, and just ain't no time to talk about it. We doing it.
Just saw something recently that I found really interesting, right? We talk about a lot about like, it's all about my day ones, like my day one dudes or my day one girls or whatever. And like, I love my day one friends. Like, they mean a lot to me. Right. My best friend, he's I'm 31. We've been friends since we were 1. Like,
sandbox. For
yeah,
real.
like different. Like he's my friend, but I see him as my brother.
Right.
Like he's really like family to me. And then like there's their day 1s, and then there's their day 2s. And the day 2s are a little bit different because the day 2s you met later in life as adults, and the day 2s are people that you are trying to like be inspired by, to build with, to talk about investing and community and marriage and family and stuff like that. So I have as much respect for my day 1s as I do my day 2s because you need both. The day 1s help you stay grounded. The day 2s help you elevate.
The day 1s keep you grounded, and the day 2s help you elevate.
Yes, sir.
Dang.
Yes, sir. So
That's
you
real.
need both.
That's real. You need both.
Yeah.
Need both to stay on that trajectory. Like you said, going with the wind, taking you where it go. That's something apart I see in this production game is being a producer, whatever you want to call it, just making it happen. Something I often feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. At the end of the day.
What I'm stealing Deion Sanders' Colorado Buffaloes quote. I seen it on a shirt earlier today. It said, "No excuses, no explanations."
Oh yeah.
I mean, just and I ain't too hard to find. I love that one, man.
Right.
I ain't too hard to find. I'm like, yo, Deion is crazy. Talk about someone. I mean, Deion's got me crazy inspired.
Oh,
right
he
now,
done got the college football game turned upside.
But just like just the way he talks. It's just like, you think about a guy like Deion, right? A coach walks into your house to recruit you. He's, you know what it was like. You've been there, right? You got recruited to go to Penn State, one of the top programs in the country, right? You know, the whole shebang. They come to the house, they greet your folks, they tell you how we're gonna use you and how we want you there and this and that. Deion walks in the crib, hey, I like you. And I want you. And listen, we can do this thing now, but I need you to trust me because listen, I've been there.
Right.
He don't have to tell you nothing.
There's no pitch.
There's
really.
nothing that man hasn't done from a football standpoint that has you questioning him, right? The ultimate level of success. Only athlete in history to play in the Super Bowl and the World Series. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, if his prime was right now in this day and age,
different.
He'd be out of here.
Out
of here.
Different.
You talk about people, NIL, people talk about Reggie Bush would have did this, Johnny Manziel.
Nah, Deion was different, man.
Would have been out of here.
But how can you not want to, like, support this, man?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear him talk. I put on Deion Sanders pregame speeches just to hype myself up now.
Hey,
like, it's
next
crazy.
episode, we doing that.
Yo, I'm telling you, play a little Deion. Like, even the way he talks about his players, his sons, Travis Hunter, and just like, I want to play for this dude.
Right.
And I'm like, my body is not ready to do none of that, but I'm ready to go. Like, just point to a wall. I'll run right through it. Oh, yeah. No. We here now. And that's what he's got. But his kids are they believe in it, they do. And that's, I mean, you talk about getting kids to buy into the program, right? Like, you don't think them kids bought him 50-something transfers
sold
or
out
60-something transfers? Yeah, sold out game.
Colorado was, I didn't realize how bad they were last season.
They were bad.
They were 1-11.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I don't know if they won today or not. They were winning when I last checked, but it just culturally, it's already he's already won.
Yeah, we were talking about. Was able to go to the Kelsey documentary premiere, and man, I really loved it. I was going to tell you earlier. He spoke about it in the beginning. I don't want to give too much away, but speaking about what Deion does for the kids, the community, and just the culture.
Yeah.
It's about like speaking belief into folks, whether the team you're a part of, the organization, the group, the crew, the friendship, whatever it is. That's what leadership is about.
Yes.
Outside of the X's and O's, you do this, you do that. It's just about breathing life into whoever you're trying to bring up to accomplish whatever.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I really wanted to touch on this earlier in the pod. Like, something that I've always had was belief in my own abilities, right?
Quietly confident.
Exactly. But like there was a moment I was living at home and I was practicing. It was 2:30 in the morning. I had work at 8 the next day. My mom was up, comes in the room, and she was like, EJ, like, go to bed. Like, it's late. And I said, Mom, if I don't push myself, nobody's going to push me as hard as I'm pushing me. And I said, you know how I know that? because you're my mom and you're telling me to go to bed right now, right? And she was like, all right, whatever, you know. And I talked to her about it last year. And I said, Mom, remember when you told me to go to bed that one night? Because I was up writing scripts and practicing. And I said, look where I'm at now. Because what I realized is like, nobody can believe in you more than you believe in yourself, right? Like my mentee, I believe in those kids, but they need to learn how to believe in their own abilities more than anybody else can believe in them. And I look at like a Dion, and Dion is preaching to these kids that I believe. He's got it on his shirts, right? But he's trying to say, look, if I can believe in you this much, why can't you believe in yourself even more? You know what I mean? And when you believe, and I believe, and then we believe, then that's when everybody will believe. You know what I'm saying?
I say it all the time. Yeah. Confidence, obviously in life, but in college football, that's what makes it such a pure sport. College sports in general, like, you know, a Sweet 16, all of that, the March Madness, that's what it is. Those teams.
Yeah, the heart.
That's the heart in the sports, man. It's different. And that's what makes it a great product on TV as a consumer. Like, you just see it.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I'm excited, man. Like you said, how can you not root for Dion and what they're doing? But obviously, in the world we live in, most of us don't see it that way. So a lot of people are waiting for them to fall and to just, you know, put a chink in the armor. It's just how society is. But
like, he's really about these kids. Yeah. Like, he's about molding young men. And I have so much respect for people who take that type of approach. Because he's like, look, you get to the NFL, you're a millionaire. Like, you are an independent contractor. These kids are playing for their lives. Right. It's different. Yeah. You know, so I respect him, man. I got so much respect, and I'm so inspired by him. Exactly. I really am.
And I think, like, we're talking about being in a room and, like, how you are making change literally and the system, how things operate. I can see him doing something, like shaking the NCAA up, which we all know needs some shaking up.
Yeah. Because think about how polarizing he is. Like,
kids don't even know for real, honestly.
But you can't even be fair weather when it comes to Dion. Either you don't like him or you do. Like, right? Like, it's like there's a lot of people that just don't like him because of how he is. Yeah, shaking. But that's just who he is.
Right. Because they're not used to people that confident.
Not like that.
Yeah, and that's not quiet confident. That's loud confidence. But it's like, it's not cocky. It's just how proud he is to be who he is. And he instills that in kids. As we all know, most people need that.
He said in the press conference after last week's game, he said, you know, if you ain't make me, you can't break me.
Amen.
Different. He's just different, man. Dion is different. But
Shout out to Prime, man.
Yeah, man. I ton of respect.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where the college football landscape goes, where the NFL landscape goes this season. I mean, I know you guys will be talking about it. I'll be tuned in.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully you guys and the crew work on, cut some pieces, shoot some pieces. We got a very talented group in here. We're going to build this thing up from the bottom, so stick with us here at the Play the Cup podcast. Speaking of great people like this man here, Enrique Joseph, tell them where they can find your stuff.
Find me on IG, Enrique J Media. You can see me on Inside the NFL on the CW, Tuesdays, 8 p.m., 7 Central. And, and hear me out on Sunday Night Football. There's a lot of other places you can hear me, but we're not even going to get into that. But Sunday Night Football, tune in.
Sure, I just want to give a shout out to the crew here. Shout out to Executive House Studios bringing us in. Nice layout here. Him and EJ were talking all the ins and outs of audio equipment.
It got real nerdy in here real fast. It was crazy. But, you know, when you link up with people on the same wavelength, you know how it is. I'm claiming it now. I must be booked for the 100th episode now. It has to happen. Yes.
It's done. It's done. Hey, I'm running the show, so it's my shit.
That's the perks of being the boss.
Yeah, man. Hey.
But this has been fantastic, man. Appreciate you having me on the pod. Hope it's just the first of many. We
gotta make it to 100 now. You didn't set it.
Well, we already coined that I'll be back for 100. So, and if I'm not gonna be upset because I know you're gonna be on the bigger and better subjects than your boy. But but happy to be a part of the first one, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This man is in the league. Voice acting.
Different league.
But he's at the top of the top.
Technically still made it to the NFL, you know,
but
you just in a different capacity.
On different levels as
different level. Yeah, different levels.
Man, like I said, you inspire me. Play the Cup podcast. Thank you, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us. Stay tuned for the next episode. And this is the type of flavor we're going to try to kick, man. Keep building it up from the ground. Holla at us on YouTube, Instagram. Like, follow, all that crap. I get better at my marketing. You know what I'm saying?
This is only the beginning.
You can use that as a DJ drop right there.
I like that right there. Man, can you drop Play the Cut podcast? Give us a...
Play the cut, where the difference is in the eye of the beholder. Brandon Bell, host, showrunner, difference maker. It's a different game, but we all still playing.
Coin it.
One take, Drake.
Coin it.
Man, watch, Josh.
It's a little personal.
Is that giving too much game?
No, I'm just kidding. I got a whole.
What is it actually like?
So I start off doing my horse lips.
Okay, oh yeah.
But you gotta go up in melody, down in melody. You gotta do
Can we get a zoom in on the lips, boss?
Yeah, you gotta do the neck roll. You gotta do the shoulders, the chewing gum with an open mouth, chewing gum with a closed mouth.
I got one piece of gum on me.
And then there's like a weird no gum. You don't use gum. It's the act of doing it. Yeah.
No.
So it's like, it sounds crazy. In the mic, it sounds wild. And then you do it. So it's waking up your jaw muscles.
Shit tight.
But also there's exercises to help from mouth clicks. So like, for instance, I'll do, and what that does is it kind of helps reduce mouth clicks. When the microphone's picking up all these different noise, all that, like
the
clicks.
ASMR and shit.
Yeah, it's strange.